everybody, our Father, Energizer. So, may I request everybody to please remain standing and please do participate with our Energizer. Thank you, everyone. And before we're going to start our topic or our lesson for today, let's have first an activity. So our activity is entitled Please Who. So I have a question here. Okay, Tacloban, do you learn best by doing something hands-on or reading about it or discussing it or reflecting on it afterward? Again, what do you prefer, or do you learn best by doing something hands-on, reading about it or discussing it or reflecting on it afterward? Okay, so how about you, Mr. Escotor? Do you learn by best doing something hands-on or discussing it or reflecting on it afterward? Bob? Okay, so discussing it. So as what have you learned? We are, wait. Okay, so both of you discussing something hands-on. By doing something hands-on, reading about it, discussing, or reflecting on it afterward. Okay, so doing something hands-on. So very good. So remaining those, as what I've mentioned, are the questions that I've been giving to you people or to you classmates. So those are how you prefer or how you learn or how you prefer on learning or the best thing you do on the way you learn. So as what you have observed that each of us has different learning styles. We do have different, we don't have the same ways of how we learn, of how we pagkahibalo. Well, we students, we know that we are diverse students. So each one of us has a particular ways of how we used to learn. So that's it. So as what I've mentioned, that all of us has different way of learning. So our topic for today is all about learning styles, because I've already mentioned that all of us students is different or has a diverse ways of learning. So learning styles represented by me and my partner. So our content for today is all about Kolb's experiential learning cycle. We will be discussing that. Next is Kolb's learning style, and next is learning styles. Second is learning modes, and last one is learning environments. So first, before we're going to delve or to go with our subtopics or our contents, let's have the sayings first. Can you please read, Mr. Direct?
If learners cannot learn the way we teach them, maybe we should teach them the way they learn.
Okay, so that was said by Ignacio Estrada. So thank you for reading, Mr. Direct. So if learners cannot learn the way we teach them, maybe we should teach them the way they learn. So class, do you have any idea about that sayings or quotes? Okay, so if learners cannot learn the way we teach them, so if those learners or the students or the learners cannot learn of the way we teachers or we future educators teach them, so we should teach them the way they learn. So it is very important to consider that the students must be taught or must be taught by the way they learn. So that was said by Ignacio Estrada. So next, I would like to present with you guys David Kolb. He is a non-educational psychologist, and he described learning styles as the process whereby knowledge is created or yes, the process whereby knowledge or understanding is created through the transformation of every experience or each experiences. So according to Jones and Blankenship 2017, they view that learning styles are the preferential way in which the student absorb, process, comprehend, and retain information. So according to them, they do have different ways or modes that students must absorb, process, comprehend, and retain information. Next, the importance of knowing the concept of learning styles can influence teachers' understandings of the students' individual differences. So if we are already aware of the importance, the essentialism of learning styles, the teacher or it could influence teachers to know or to be aware the difference between or the diverse or the individual differences of the way the students learn or the understanding of students. So this is the Kolb's experiential learning cycle. So it says there that it typically represented through a four-stage learning cycle. So four-stage learning cycle. So effective learning is seen when a learner progress through a cycle of four stages. So there is a progress or there is a learning when the learning progress has this four stages or has this four cycle. So learning is an integrated process in which each stage is mutually supported and feeding into the next part of the cycle. If it is very guided or supportive, we can ensure that there could be an integrated process. And next, it is further explained that the effective learning only occurs, remember that, it only occurs when a learner can experience all four stages of the model. So it says there that if the students can experience or can have this can have these four stages of the model, it has this very effective learning way if this four was being used or studied by those students. So if one is missing of these four stages, it could never be an effective learning. That is the experiential. So this is the Kolb's experiential learning cycle. First is active experimentation, where the students is planning or trying out what they have learned or what you have learned. It is a active experimentation. Next is the concrete experience, doing or having an experience. It is a concrete experience or having an experience or having experiences. Next is reflective observation. From the word observation, they are going or the students review or reflect to those experiences that he or she experienced during the concrete experience. Next is the abstract conceptualization, the understanding of the concept. So they can conclude or they will learn from the experiences that they have learned or they have experienced. Next is Kolb's learning style. So Maddox, Ewing Taylor, and Johnson in 2002, they state that one way to ensure quality education and positive student outcome is considering the relevance of students' learning styles in designing instructional method. So it is very important to consider or to be aware of doing or to be vigilant and of doing your instructional method, because it is the way of effective or the quality education and positive student outcome if you has this safety of doing your instructional method so that the students or your instructional method has relevance of the learning of the students. Next is Kolb presented four basic learning styles, which is the accommodative, assimilative, divergent, and convergent. And each learning style is incorporated with four learning modes, which is the concrete experiences, reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, and active experimentation. So Kolb and Fry in 1975 described the four different conducive learning environments styles and learning modes. So first is effective learning environment, the second is symbolic learning environment, the third is perceptual, and the last one is behavioral. So yes, we will be going to look or we will observe the learning styles and the learning modes of both. So first, it has this assimilation. So I have mentioned that these are the learning styles or the learning stages by Bowles David. So David Stoll. So assimilation, the strength of the student, the particular student has this building theoretical models, modeling strength. So emphasis is less on people and more on ideas and concepts. So he or she or the particular student has this more on ideas, focuses on more on ideas and concepts. So learning modes, which is the abstract conceptualization, it's all about, it focuses the logic, ideas and concepts. And next is the values, conceptual systems, and Red Cross idea analysis. So another is reflective observation, focus on understanding the meaning of ideas and evaluates patience, impartiality, and thoughtful judgment. Next is accommodative. So this particular student, the strength of this particular student is into doing and risk takers. And the emphasis is adapting oneself to new situations. So we will be having a wide or more explanation about this learning styles by Bowles in the next slides. And then the learning modes of this accommodative, which is the concrete experience, focuses on involved interpersonal experiences and values real-world situation. And the active experimentation, focusing on influencing people and changing situation, and develops its ability to manipulate environments. Next is the convergence. So the strength of this particular student is it has this intelligence test. So they are into intelligence test. So emphasis, they are good at problem solving and decision making. So their learning modes, abstract conceptualization and active experimentation. So as you can see, you can read the focus, the values of the two learning modes. And the next is the divergent. Divergent, the particular student has this creativity and good at brainstorming, and also they are good at social interaction, interacting with other people, and perspective taking. So their learning modes is the reflective observation and concrete experiences. So those are the learning styles and learning modes of Bowles learning styles and learning modes. So learning styles. This is what I mentioned earlier, the accommodative. Accommodative. Learners excels at accomplishing tasks by following direction, meticulously planning, and also maybe seeking new experiences. So this particular student or you or can you let yourself find your fitted learning styles? So accommodative is that this particular student is good or into seeking new experiences or new situation, new experiences, and they're good at following direction. They accomplish tasks that will meticulously planning. And next is they are opportunistic, action-driven, and risk-takers. So they incorporate the learning modes of reflective and abstract conceptualization. As what I've read or I mentioned earlier, that those are the incorporated learning modes by best learning styles. Next is the assimilative. They are concerned with ideas and abstract concepts rather than with people and social interaction. So they are good at abstract concepts rather than with people and social interaction, and are concerned with abstract, logical, rather than practical aspects of theories. They are more on letting themselves to find ideas and concepts, but rather than with people or having interactions with other people. So they incorporate the learning modes of reflective and abstract conceptualization. So next is divergent. Divergent learners are best at tasks of the imaginative ability. They have this ability which they can imagine, or they have a wide imagination, so that they can and they do have awareness of meaning and values. Next is they are considered as brainstormers because they prefer to observe than to act. So this particular student shows us to to think critically or observe of the people or the happenings of his or her surroundings and, instead of doing an action. And they are emotionally oriented and tend to be creative. So they prefer the learning modes of concrete experience and reflective observation. Last one is the convergent. Convergent's greatest strength is the ability to efficiently solve problems. So this particular student or this particular style of a student, they are good or they use of solving problems, making decisions, and apply practical ideas to solve problems. And they do well on standard conventional intelligence tests because they can organize knowledge by hypothetical deductive reasoning and converge to one given answer. So they are drawn from the learning modes of abstract conceptualization and active experimentation. Next is the learning modes. So I have already mentioned those modes earlier, but this time I would like to expand or have more explanation about those learning modes that I had mentioned earlier. So this learning mode is the characteristic of learners who desire plenty of opportunities for direct human interpersonal interaction. Plenty of opportunities. They desire a plenty and for direct human interpersonal interaction. So they prefer to feel and experience rather than think. So this particular student has this characteristic that use of to feel and experience rather using their minds or rather than thinking. So learners who prefer this learning mode take an artistic, intuitive approach to problem solving rather than a scientific approach. They use or they love to approach to intuitive approach to problem solving that's a scientific approach. Next is this mode focuses on ability to understand the meaning of ideas. Learners under this mode value objective judgment, impartiality, and patience. So those are the students or a particular student that has this patience, impartiality, and has this value objective judgment and has the ability to understand meaning of ideas. So they prefer abstract understanding over practical observation. And next is abstract conceptualization. So these learners or this particular student attend to tasks that involve logical investigation of ideas and concepts. They are characterized by a preference to depend on cognitive rather than emotional skills. So abstract conceptualization, this particular student or this particular style of a student is they prefer or they use cognitive thinking or cognitive skills rather than emotional skills. So next is active experimentation. Active experimentation is this mode focuses on actively influencing people and situations and involved in peer interaction that allow them to play an integral role in the decisions made in this interaction. So active experimentation is that these particular students, they are active in influencing other people and situations. They're into it and they are pragmatists and focus on doing rather than observing. So they are used on doing rather than just observing. They are good in they are into action rather than observing. Next is the learning environment. May I call my partner or my
topic is all about learning environment built to 1984. It's all about the affective learning environment. The learning environment emphasizes the cultural experience of the learners, experience of the real things. Affective learning tasks include activities such as symbolic learning environment is very effective learning because they allow students to develop their critical thinking skills. Next is perceptual learning environment. The main goal is to identify and understand the relationship among concept and perceptual environment. Emphasize the process of problem solving rather than coming up with a best solution. Learners are required to follow relevant information for searching questions and expected to attack the problem situation through different perspectives, own opinion, expert opinion, and lecture by listening, observing, writing, discussing, and personal boundary. This perceptual learning environment is a learning environment that focuses on the developing of students' sensory and perceptual skills. It is about engaging student senses and helping to make sense of the world around them. Next is behavioral learning environment. Behavioral learning environment this is learning environment emphasizes active application of knowledge and skills to a practical problem. Activities should not be structured so that the learner will gain intrinsic reward and values. The teacher acts as the coach or guide, but only when the student initiates substance knowledge. Small group of work, interactive project that apply theory of real world skills and peer feedback and prime example of student activities in the environment. This behavioral learning environment is focused on classroom where the shaping student behavior through their positive reinforcement and their clear expectation. It's all about establishing structure and predictable environment where the student learns through rewards and consequences. Next is the convergent learning style. This is the all learning style of both 1894 as well. So just explain. This is the convergent learning style. Convergent learning style and assimilative learning style. The assimilative learning style is what siya yung reflective observation mode. This is this is the assimilative learning style. Muna siya yung mga convergent learning style, divergent learning styles, and coordination learning style. That is the learning styles of Hope 1984. And this is symbolic learning style is symbolic learning style. This is converted symbolic learning style environment, perceptual learning environment, behavioral learning environment. This is it is a part of Hope 1984. It is ano siya yung Hope maker part of learning mode. This is their part and this is the whole part of learning mode. It is important to know that for each learning style, there are two corresponding learning modes, and those each learning mode there is a corresponding learning environment. As Fry 1975 suggested, each of their four learning environment is a supportive and particular learning mode with its accompanying learning styles. The symbolic learning environment is best supported as abstract conceptualization learning mode
accommodative, assimilative, divergent, and convergent. So now, have you already gonna see or already identify what learning styles do you have right now? Everybody? Okay, so you have already identified what learning styles you are in. So I will group you, or the class will be divided into 4 groups. So this would be the group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. So all you need to do is to discuss with your groups what are those learning styles that or where learning styles that you are in right now. So there will be 3 representative of each group, and we're going to present here in front of what are those kind of different, or what are the different learning styles that are in your groupmates. Okay, so the time starts now. Okay, very good. Thank you group 1, thank you group 3, thank you group 2, and thank you group 4. You did so very well. So you already know what learning styles you are in, or what learning styles do you have right now, which is the accommodative or convergent, the divergent, and the assimilative. So you already know and aware of what learning styles do you have, or you are into. So next is we'll be having evaluation. Yes, our evaluation. So please get 1/4 sheet of paper and we'll answer this questions. So direction. Okay, part 1. Can you please read the direction, Mr. Atay? Okay, your time starts now. Congratulations, everyone. So, thank you so much for your cooperation. And by the way, before I forgot, we will be having an assignment. So, thank you so much, and God bless everyone. Thank you for your cooperation.